Hey, I'm Marcus.
And I'm Nick.
We are Working Class Nerds.
Cue the intro. That's right, we are Working Class Nerds, the podcast that gives you no information about your favorite information.
Today is Tuesday, October 8th, 2019, and you can find this. We're definitely still going to get RNG Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Buzzsprout, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher. You can find the both of us on Twitter. I am at MarcusB814.
And I am at Nick Vern, that's NickVern. In this week's episode, we're going through all of the gory details that we found out about the 6.0 expansion at the Star Wars Cantina.
Burr, 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 burr.
That was live in New York City this weekend.
And let me tell you, New York stinks.
It does stink.
And we were there on trash day. We need to tell the devs the next time, can we do it a different day that's not trash day?
Exactly.
Anyways.
Joining us this evening are two roommates over the weekend, Kogass and Dr. SWTOR. So thank you both for coming on the show as always. And what have you been up to this week?
Well, we know what they've been up to this week. We met them in person.
I know. Well,
Kogass choked me out in the hotel. Jumped on my back to take a selfie, and he was choking me out. Anyway, sorry guys. What have you guys been up to? Let's start with Kogass.
Well, first off, that was because little old Marcus here got all butthurt because I was like, hey, Doc, let's take a selfie together. And then Marcus is like, oh, well, let me be in the selfie. I'm like, no, it's me and Doc first. And then I'll get you. And he starts walking up. Oh, I'm not invited in this. Huffing, puffing, and walking around. And I'm just like, gotcha. And so I jump on his back and we take that picture. And he's all like, oh, man, Kogass does like me. I got to get a picture, individual picture with each person there.
Yeah, it's nice. Nice little memento, you know what I mean? Then you take a group photo afterwards.
Yes, except we had all the group pictures done the day before.
That's true. That's true.
At 2 a.m.
At 2 a.m., yes.
Anyways, so Kogass, how was your flight back?
Flight back was good. It was pretty painless, pretty quick. I tell you, the first leg was a little scary. That was probably the worst landing I've ever had done by a pilot. I could see the plane. I was kind of in the back, so I could see the plane shift from one direction to the other direction. And I was like, man, this pilot sucks.
Oh, boy. And you would know, too, working
yes.
for the Air Force.
From being in the Air Force and traveling so much, I was just like, this is some of the worst flying I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was surreal to pick you up from the airport and see you and Doc standing there on the thing, and I just pull up like a bat out of hell. and you were prepared in a coat, but Doc was there shivering and no coat.
Yeah, you don't think about coats at all when you live in Arizona or Tatooine or whatever we call it.
Yeah, what did you say for the trip? You visited 3 planets?
Yeah, it was like a full trip through one of the trilogies. Like you start out on Tatooine, you make it to like the Yavin 4 Endor kind of location, and then you end up in Coruscant, and then back all the way to the beginning where it all started. So don't forget about Kogass. Like, he was telling us what was up. Also, Marcus, you do have this need to not be left out. I noticed that. Let me and Kogass have our selfie.
I didn't. I wasn't pouting.
You were definitely pouting. That's why
I was cranky.
The jump on your back. You were.
I was cranky.
That's fair to say.
I was cranky.
Anyways, you were pouting because you got your selfie with Kogass within 10 seconds, but we saw what was brewing there.
My crankiness. Was that when we were leaving?
I think so. I think we had just got our bags or something.
We had just dropped off our bags, and we were going to go. We were heading towards, what was it?
TikTok?
Times Square. We were heading to Times Square.
Oh, that's right. Now I remember.
And Sith Lord Britt was like, why are you guys going to Times Square? This place sucks. It smells here. This is our armpit.
And her husband was telling me, he's like, oh, wait until you try this donut. And I was like, no, I'm not eating it. And then I found out it was a pumpkin donut, and I was in.
100%.
100% I was in.
I never did get to go to that deli.
100%. Once I knew it was a pumpkin donut, I was in. I'm like the crazy girls that like pumpkin spice lattes, but I just like pumpkin. I don't
Everything?
like the pumpkin spice latte. That's just too much for me.
See, I couldn't eat a donut because I knew there was chocolate all up in that bag, and I didn't want to say that and make it a big deal, and then they ask, "Oh my God, you're allergic to chocolate?" Yes, I am. So I was just like, "No, it's okay, I can't eat it," and I made you eat the pumpkin donut, which ended up being like a gift, basically.
Yeah. It was
Well, I thought.
Anyways,
Doc ate the half chocolate one.
No, it
He
did,
did.
but even if so, like I'm really sensitive to it. So even if chocolate had smeared on the bag and
That's
then
such
touched a piece
bullshit.
of the donut, I'd still be screwed.
such
Oh,
bullshit.
that's rough.
You were inside the Hershey's chocolate store.
Yeah, because I didn't
That
eat
was like
anything in
there
there.
was like chocolate in they like blow chocolate fumes out of the furnace.
I know.
Right?
You were fine. So you're not. Suck it up, Buttercup. Anyways, Kogass, have you gotten
Sir.
to play any SWTOR
I have
since the cantina?
barely played any SWTOR. I got on the PTS a little bit, did some testing on there, and then I went back to sleep because I was not feeling well after the trip.
So it sounds like I may have played the most Star Wars in the past 4 days as anyone on the show right now. But Doc, what have you been up to this week?
Well, just getting back into the flow of things, honestly. So, to get to the cantina and meet you guys, I took the red-eye flight from Arizona and connected one flight, landed in Connecticut, and you guys picked me up, and I needed a jacket because I didn't remember to pack one. Actually, I did a really terrible job of packing for this entire ordeal because I did my nightmare raid. I didn't call out or cancel. I did my nightmare raid, which ended 2 hours before my flight. And because I did that, I spent less time packing before the raid and just assumed that I was done packing after the raid. And then got in my car and got on the plane. And so that's that. And then hung out with you guys for Friday, Saturday. Saturday night, slept in the basement at Marcus's house. So
on a couch.
Yeah, on the couch. So like in your recording studio setup.
Pretty much, yep.
That's where I was sleeping, and it was actually a really nice 3.5 hours of sleep, and got on some more planes and made my way back to Arizona, and did my regular job yesterday and today. And I did, I did mess around with some OBS stuff and checked out the cartel market to kind of figure out if I want to purchase anything this week or wait till next week. And I think I'm going to wait just because I want to see what the final week of the cartel market sale is going to be. But I'm planning on getting a few things for my legacy in the SWTOR. Just want to see what they're going to do. It's your move, BioWare.
It's got to be everything. Everything goes on sale. Entire cartel market's on sale for a week.
Sale.
I agree with that. And for me, what I would purchase if it was me, I think I'll buy a couple of those Masters Datacron things.
Yeah.
Because that boosts you to 70. Because I will probably, once everything calms down after a little while, and they're back up on the on the GTN, you can sell one of those things for like 100 million credits.
Yeah.
Oh, so you want to make some credits off the cartel market there.
Correct.
So I want to do that. I'll probably get a Masters Datacron. I have some cartel coins because I've been subbed for quite a while. But I also was looking at some of the dyes, like the black on black is.
Yeah,
on
the
sale
black
too.
on black is legit.
I think that's what I have for my current armor is the black on black.
Once
But
you
anyways.
start buying those with your real money, though, it becomes very hard to save your money in real life because it only helps one tune, one outfit.
That's
and
true.
They're not really cheap. So
They're not cheap.
the
At
ones-
at 40% off, I don't mind splurging a little bit, but you have a very valid point.
Yeah. Like, it would be so great to have black dye for every tune, but, even at a discount, 15 or 20 tunes, that's a lot of money to invest
Absolutely.
in cosmetics.
Well, I don't think the Master Dat. I don't think anything's going to go on. Like the Master Datacron will go on sale. I mean, everything will be available on the GTN. If that makes
That's
any
true.
more sense for the last week. I don't mean it's going to be on sale like at a reduced price. I mean everything will be available. I really want to get that Jory Don's outfit. I don't even know the Jory outfit, the one with the Speedo. I just want to get the Speedo for a couple of my tunes.
That'd be cool.
Walk around with just that little piece and everything else be covert. Giggity.
Yeah, see, there's no like real armor set that
Like sticks out to you.
Yeah, like that. I mean, I went to the GTN and bought the cheapest armor set for my Marauder, and she looks awesome in it.
Yeah.
And it was 100K credits.
Yeah.
So like armor.
Doesn't do a whole lot for you.
No.
I have for my Juggernaut. I think it's the Warden armor or something like that. I forgot what it's called, but
I don't know.
It's just like standard issue. I can send a picture in the Discord, but it's nothing too crazy. It was like 400 cartel coins or something. But anyways, back at the ranch.
So Nick, we all know what we've been doing for the last week.
Yeah.
But tell me anyway.
So I don't want to get into the content of the cantina too much, but can I talk about the periphery outside of that, like the trip and stuff?
Sure.
So Marcus hooked it up with a crazy hotel room for the four of us.
Was it really that crazy?
Yeah. All right. So
It was amazing.
Let me paint the picture for you. If you've ever played BioShock or BioShock Infinite, specifically the DLC, you know when you walk into Rapture and it's all in the BioShock Infinite DLC, where it's all restored and it's not gone to shit yet? That's what the lobby of our hotel looked like. Gold ceilings, gold-plated like walls. Even the font was exactly the same as BioShock.
That's why I picked the hotel.
He's rolling his eyes. Yeah, right. If you want to look it up, we just stayed at the New Yorker, but
The New Yorker.
right. But that was so like the lobby and facilities were incredible looking, and then I don't know how many floors it was in total, like 40 something, but we were on like 22nd or something like that, and Marcus got the family terrace suite, so it was like 2 beds in a living area with like a pull-out couch bed thingy, and we had this like giant corner balcony that we could go out onto and see like
It was called a terrace.
a terrace, sorry, with like a little seating area, you overlooking Madison Square Garden, and you could see all kinds of stuff. It was incredible. I'll have to post some of the pictures on Twitter later for peeps.
Yes,
You
the view
probably should.
was fantastic, especially at night.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the thing about New York. Now, New York is not my favorite city, but it's really true that when we came home and you see how dark it is here compared to there, because like at nighttime it's still daytime.
Right. It's so bright from all the lights and stuff. Like Doc was exhausted, obviously, from having not slept at all and then gone to the cantina. And he fell asleep with the curtains open, and I was shocked at how bright. Like it was like you had the lights on in the room. That's how bright it was. Just from like the lights from the buildings streaming in through the window. It was crazy. But the room was incredible. Long story short.
I mean, I can sleep through mostly anything.
That's true. I also, when we got back, well, first of all, it was fun staying with Dr. SWTOR and Kogass all weekend. That was great.
And then we kind of had like a mini meetup at the hotel before we went to the cantina.
That's true. I almost forgot about that.
But we can get into that later.
Right. We can talk about that in your section. I thought it was awesome that we had like a mini LAN party afterwards between me, Marcus, and Doc. So obviously, like we said, Dr. SWTOR stayed over Marcus's house before he caught his flight in the morning. And I came over because I live 10 minutes away here. We had like a mini LAN party and ran the Anathema Flashpoint together, which was fun. But the only thing that pulled us down, we ended up continuing to wipe on the final boss because we had some scrub in 222 gear with us.
222.
We just kept calling him 222.
Oh, he was so bad. Or she.
Whoever they.
Well, their entire strategy for the entire Flashpoint, as far as I could tell, was 1 and 2. Like that Merc missile that generates such high heat that you should never use it.
Wait a minute. You're supposed to use other numbers than 1 and 2?
Oh my god.
Oh, wait. I use 3 too because that's my leap.
Oh,
no wonder why my parses are low.
Marauder life, everybody.
Yeah.
But that I thought that was cool to just play like IRL with folks. And then I worked, so that was Saturday. Then I worked Sunday. Monday, I played a couple of Flashpoints by myself, which...
Whoa!
Right, I know, which never happens. But in the prelude section of the Revan expansion, so I forget, there's like a few... flashpoints you have to run.
Oh,
That's
it's such a good expansion.
That's part of that. Before you get into the meat of the expansion,
Meat.
So I haven't gotten into the actual section of that expansion yet. But once I do, I will definitely let you guys know. That's it for me, Marcus. How's it going, and what have you been up to?
I was really tired,
I can't imagine why. You only drove from New York City and back twice.
and then I was whooped, and then Sunday. Yeah, Sunday, I was like a zombie all day. I drank coffee, didn't work. And then Death Star Troopers was supposed to run, and I was just way too tired. I was like, nope, not happening. And then Tuscan City Raiders is Monday, and I canceled that too because I was just like, you know what? I'm tired still. I'm going to be playing this a lot.
Yeah.
I went to bed at 8:30 at night. Yeah. So anyways, in Death Star Troopers, Tuscan City Raiders news, we did beat hard mode Torque in Ravagers, and we got to pull Master Blaster a couple times as well. We'll be back there again this week. Death Star Troopers continues their path, hopefully to kill Tithe in hard mode and then move on and back to Temple of Sacrifice. But what I have been playing a lot of is Destiny 2's PvP. I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. And then the other thing, I keep talking about it, is Breath of the Wild, man. Like, what I like is it's almost like a mobile game for me because I can play for 10 minutes. Like, I'll just cruise around the countryside for 10 minutes and then save it, and then I'm done. So it's like almost like the ultimate and filler game. Except so there was this like giant red character. He was sleeping on the ground.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was like a Hyrule or Heroics.
Yeah.
Hotcakes.
I knew, yeah, it's like a pig guy kind of.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
So, anyways, the guy was sleeping, so I decided to shoot him with an arrow in his nuts.
How'd that go over?
Well, it was a bomb one, so it did a little bit of damage, but then I used every single one of my weapons.
And it didn't kill it?
No. It was at Half-Life. And I had no weapons, so I just had him kill me, so I got all my stuff back.
Yeah.
So I would say that's the only part of the game that I don't like, is that, like, the weapons break so much, and I know that adds, like, a survival element to it.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm at a point now where it tells me, like, my next big story thing is I got to go get these divine beasts.
Yep.
4 of them, but they're really, really far away.
Right.
So what they're saying is there's no other quest for me to do other than those?
No, there's a lot of other quests to do.
But I got to find them.
That's the main quest. That's the main storyline quest, and you got to do you still have all your shrines you got to do between here and there. You still got all the side missions to do that. You know, those are just like the main things. So those would be like, all right, the end goal or the end, like the journey is to this spot, and then all the shrines and everything in between is like the path that you take, and it's a lot of fun with that.
So the only thing that I'm not sure of, does the game scale to you, or are certain areas of the map like really, really difficult? Like if you get in somewhere where you're not supposed to be, technically,
it's going to be super hard.
So you're going to have to like go backwards in saves to start somewhere else?
Yes,
Yeah,
go backwards
I think
or
that's
just
what happened.
Yeah, that's exactly what. The game does not scale to you. You have to scale to the game.
I went north to start to get a divine beast, and it was like I landed in like these like the normal NPCs that you fight, but like
the moblins or whatever.
Yes, they were like insano moblins.
Yeah,
and then I found this other guy. He looked like a Tauren, but without the horse body.
Oh, those guys
really,
are
really
so hard. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
And anyways, he killed me in 2 shots. I don't know. They say he's like the hardest character in the game, but it doesn't matter.
Wait, was it a lion?
Maybe.
How do you spell Tauren?
Taurin.
I'm using the Google, everybody.
Anyways, so that's pretty much it for me gaming, but I feel like I'm just getting my head above water
What color was this guy? It's I believe
Red.
it's called like
Red or
a
purple.
Lionel. It's I think
yes,
it's
that's
the
what it
Lionel.
was.
Oh, a Lionel.
Yes.
Yeah, those things are literally the hardest guys to kill in the game.
Yeah, and they're giant, right?
Well, not like giant. He's
Wait,
tall
wait.
and skinny.
Oh, no. You're thinking of... It's a different... He's not thinking of a Lionel.
A Lionel is the
It's
big
like-
fat red thing.
No, that's a...
No, that's just a big
You
fat
haven't
red
found-
thing.
Anyways,
You haven't found a Lionel
so needless to say, I feel like I like the non-linear at all, and like they're just like, go ahead and explore, dude.
yet. Right.
But like at the same time, like a little bit of help would be helpful to like say, hey, why don't you go to this one first?
That's what
like,
Google's for.
But no, I don't want to do that. Like,
Well,
I
you
have
want
my
help,
little
but you don't want
companion-
to look for help.
No. I have my little companion app that helps me like track all the shrines that I did and like the paths. But like then there's giant spots in the map that have nothing in it.
Right.
And I'm like, well, something has to be there. And I found this like really weird like area where there was a fairy that came out of like a pool. Anyways, doesn't matter. It's really fun. So we're going to get into this whole like Cantina thing, but in SWTOR news. So Phase 3 is now alive and well in the PTS. And if you want that log mount, I would say you probably got about a week to do it.
Okay.
Um,
And how do you do that again?
you got to download the PTS. You got to do 10 group activities. And yeah, I would say that's my number one priority because I still have five flashpoints to do before it's over.
Right.
Because I would say it's probably going to come offline early next week. Because if the expansion's really coming out on time, the PTS isn't going to stay up until the expansion's here.
Right.
They're going to want to polish it and do whatever they got to do. So anyways, they're basically saying all the flashpoints are now balanced at level 70.
Mm-hmm.
This is to address some of the feedback we received in Phase 2. So anyways, so we got another little note from the men at BioWare.
Sure. So it says the upcoming Onslaught expansion will introduce a lot of changes for each class, including new abilities, set bonuses, and tactical items. To help explain everything, we're releasing a series of articles featuring each advanced class's new ability, as well as new set bonuses and tactical items. We will also describe various combat scenarios to show how these changes will mesh together, just like in our previous article covering mercenaries and commandos. In today's article, we're showcasing the Power Tech and Vanguard advanced classes.
And we will not be reading about all of that, but I think it's really sweet what Dan kind of has come up with for all these different classes. I know they did Sages and Sorks, and then the Mercs and Commandos. I'm excited to see what they say about Marauders, other than that they're the best class. But anyway, so
Well, that's pretty sweet. It's
Yeah.
cool that they're like taking the time to go through each one and like say like here's what you got for each thing. That's new.
well, but at the same time, they told you if you're a tank, you should taunt first, which is completely not true. But anyways, so we did get confirmation that Onslaught will be coming in
October.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah. I thought we were seeing Cantina stuff in the next section.
Well, it's a part of the news.
Oh.
So
So
they're-
big news. Onslaught's coming out in 2 weeks.
So they sent out I think it was a tweet or something at SWTOR, and they basically confirmed like 14 days from today it's coming.
That's sweet.
So alive or well.
Wait, didn't you say October 21st or 22nd? Isn't that's pretty much 2 weeks from today? I think your guesstimation was correct, sir.
Oh.
But
I don't know.
I'm not sure either.
So anyways, yeah. And in guild news, this Friday,
Mm-hmm.
9 p.m. Eastern.
So that would be 10.
I don't know.
Looking
This
up the
Friday.
The 11th. October 11th.
Thank you, Nick. Can you see we're still sleeping here? Anyways, sorry for the short notice, everybody. But I was going to do the PTS next week. It's going to be a PTS run. Whoever needs their hammer stations or whatever, we're going to be running them over and over and over again just to help everybody get the log mount this Friday. Sorry again for the short notice, but we're doing it because I was actually going to do it next week because I expected the expansion to come out for Halloween. But they're confirming that it's coming out in 2 weeks, so I figure we'll just do the mega event.
A week early.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes, so if you want to ride that sweet log, then make sure you come Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern.
For the mega event.
But you have to download the PTS long before Friday at 9 p.m.
Right, because it takes probably like 7 hours. I tried downloading it yesterday when I wanted to play. I'm like, I'll download it and then I'll start playing, my story. And I was like, oh, this is taking way too long. Forget it. I just jumped into the regular game. But if all this sounds fun to you, go to aie-guild.org, jump in the Discord, and ask for a guild invite. Whether or not you play SWTOR or any of the other games we play, we'd love to have you. And we're talking any of the other games here, folks. Whether it doesn't have to be an MMO, it can be Destiny, it can be Call of Duty, it can be Breath of the Wild. If you play video games and you want to chat with other people who also play them, come to aie-guild.org, get in the Discord, and start chatting away, because we'd love to have you. So without further ado, Marcus, I would like to take a break. Are you ready for that?
I think you're ready for that.
I definitely am. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So today we're discussing the 2019 New York Star Wars Community Cantina. What that means, it's a big old meetup with the developers from BioWare of Star Wars: The Old Republic, and it's a big meet and greet with the SWTOR community, and they gave us a little bit of info, and also some free adult beverages or regular beverages, whatever you prefer.
What was pretty sweet is when we got there, other than the giant piles of trash everywhere, we got to wait in line. So
we got to wait in line?
Yeah, we did. They allowed us to wait in line to get in. So there was myself, Doc, you, Nick, Kogass,
yep,
Intisar, Max, B-Cavs.
Yep.
That's who we were all waiting in line with,
which
was really sweet because getting to talk to everybody.
Yeah, and then Zen met us there later.
Yep. There was a bunch of people there. I don't know how many people were there, but there was definitely a bunch.
Probably like 100. I mean, I know people filtered in and out.
Well, we definitely filled up the place as soon as it opened. It was just like line was packed.
And then,
like we got there 45 minutes before it started, and we still were like 20 people deep into the line.
Yeah, easily. I think it was probably close to 200 people right when it first opened, but I wouldn't be surprised if more than 300 people came between people coming later and things like that.
Yeah, because at 10 o'clock the doors open to
the public. Right.
I'm pretty sure the format of it makes it really hard to calculate as well, because they shared for a very short amount of time, and if that's what people came for and they don't have this like life mission to talk directly one-on-one with Eric Musco, then I can see people leaving, around 8 o'clock.
Right.
Sure.
That's a valid point too. I mean, I wanted to talk to him, but you're definitely. No, I think that's what I was kind of trying to say was that I think people had left basically after their announcement.
Can we give a huge shout out to all the devs who showed up? We had way more. Everybody knows. Should we refer to them as, I don't know, the SWTOR Trinity? Eric Musco, Charles Boyd, and Papa Keith.
Yes.
But we have so many more devs that showed up. We got Jackie. I met Jackie Chow. I met Caitlin, and I met Fred. And those guys have been to a couple of them. I think it just takes a little bit for them to be like, okay, I'm comfortable with talking to some people. Like, I remember Jackie being at the South by SWTOR a couple of years ago, and I barely even talked to the guy. And this time it was like full on regular conversations. It was awesome.
It was awesome. I think, not to take too much credit, but I did work on Jackie just a little bit to get him to open up.
I think you worked on everybody, Nick.
Maybe it's because you guys
giggity.
talked about Zelda earlier, but I'm feeling this Force and like Trinity. We should call them the Triforce. Wait, but that's probably trademarked, but I'm fine conferring Trinity status on those three.
I agree. I agree, Dr. SWTOR. For sure.
So the setting is, it was at Stitch Bar. We all waited in line for not that long.
It
they
opened
came
right
in-
at the right time.
Something that was actually pretty cool, they had iPads, and, they basically said you had to register to go. So if you weren't registered, they registered for you. Basically, you showed an ID, they gave you a thing, just so basically everybody that went there, you were accounted for.
Right.
And then once they did that, they handed you this sweet little numbered tag that had the light side, dark side, blue and red logo for the Old Republic, and basically that was your
Swag pass.
Swag pass. I like that, Nick.
Yeah, and then once you got inside, they would call you up by your number on your little
Yeah,
tag.
they were basically like, if you're 0 to 49 or 0 to 50, your turn to get the swag. It was actually really organized. The first year I went a couple years ago, it was like they were like, okay, swag is here, and it was like chaos.
Oh yeah.
But the devs were there. They were great.
I feel like they made a real effort to go, even besides Musco, who's obviously used to talking to people, but I feel like they made a real effort to go around and talk to everybody and actually mingle.
Yeah.
And not just hide in a corner.
And can we just do a big shout out to Keith's wife? It was their 40th anniversary that day.
No way!
And they were at the community cantina. That's love.
That is love.
If I ever told Carrie we're going to the community cantina
For
for our 40th anniversary, I would get a straight dick kick. There would be no surviving it. I mean, she'd probably go after the dick kick. But
That's true.
Well, anyways, happy anniversary, guys.
Well, if
Happy
that's all it takes, I bet you she would love to go.
There's a good possibility of that.
Oh,
So-
I was number 29 in line. I remember we were talking the swag pass. The swag pass actually had your spot in line, so I was number 29. That's that's when we showed up 45 minutes.
Yeah, so that
beforehand.
I was 46. How did that happen?
I was 31. That means
You
Mrs. R
waited
was
with
30.
AIE Guildy, and then you guys were getting food, and between the 10 minutes between food is the difference in people.
Yeah,
Right.
you stayed behind slightly to meet someone that couldn't find us.
Oh yeah, it was Max.
Right.
Max's Uber or taxi was sitting in traffic.
Did
So
I
anyway,
get to meet Max?
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
wearing a dark coat. And
Yeah,
went-
and he
went-
came with us to the
to-
bar after.
Oh,
You
yeah,
sit
yeah. Okay, we're good.
Oh my lord.
Come on. I know you didn't have that many drinks.
Oh, dude, I'm a lightweight now these days. My my Korea days are far behind me. That's 11 years ago now.
I know, I get that.
So we get into the cantina. It was like a rush. Everybody got a drink. Everybody just started to mingle. And then all of a sudden I got in there and I'm like, where's everybody? And
Well, we should set the stage a little bit here. So
Yeah,
the
let's
bar
set this. Let's paint the picture. So
So go ahead, Kogass.
where the Stitch is, it's in New York. So it's not the widest bar, but it's not the narrowest. So think about it two rooms wide when you get in, and then one room wide because they start filling one side up with the bar, nice and long. And so we're walking. I'm like, okay, I want to see how far back this goes. I want to see everything. And so I'm kind of just walking in front, and all of a sudden, out of the left side of my eye, I'm like, there's something moving up there. And I was like, guys, there's an upstairs. We're
Yeah,
going
there's
upstairs.
There's a
And
big
it's-
balcony. So
Yeah.
we just followed your lead, basically.
Yeah, and so we went up the stairs. As we're going up the stairs, Eric passes us by, and he's just like, "Oh, hey guys," and I'm like, "Wait, what, Eric? Wait, what? Aw!" So we just keep on going upstairs, and then all of a sudden we see Charles talking to the voice actors, right?
Oh,
and the,
yes.
Max Middleton and Darren DePaul.
Darren DePaul, and then the other voice actress. And I didn't know who Darren DePaul was. I was like, "Oh, this guy looks like he's dressed to the teeth." And so it looked like it was some kind of professional meeting because you had Jedi outfit right
Yeah.
there. You had suit and
Well,
tie
yeah.
guy. It was
Charles
just like,
is in
dude,
right. Charles is in full Jedi garb, complete with lightsaber, by the way. Yeah,
I was
and
just like, we just crashed their meeting, baby. I went up to him and I just gave him a big old tackle, be like, "Hey, guy, what's going on?" And he's like, "Whoa, Kogass, you got to stop doing this to me."
And I was like 10 feet behind Kogass running in, so sorry, Kogass, but you definitely warrior leaped into that. And I'm all like, at range thinking, am I supposed to be here right now? Am I interrupting important business with people who are like professionally attending this thing, whereas I'm like a bystander? But I was assured by people like, no, we're allowed to be here. Talk to them. So I followed. It was really neat, like 20, 30 minutes before the actual event kicked into gear, because they were actually really interested in saying hi, and we got to shake the hands from the voice actors, and I got to speak with Charles before the place really filled up, and he got swarmed by many people throughout the night. So,
do you think Charles may be the most popular out of all the SWTOR devs?
Absolutely. People, because he always likes to talk to people, and he's always coming in garb, either his Jedi outfit, or at Celebration he also wore his commando outfit, and he just loves talking about the game. He loves chit-chatting to people. He's probably not like loving talking to me, because every time I talk to him, he was always like, "You're always trying to get something out of me, Kogass. Not this time." But he definitely loves talking to people, and I even whispered in his ear, I'm like, "I am so sorry, I just crashed this," and he's like, "You're good, don't worry about it." I'm like, "Yeah, I still feel bad because I tackled this." I gave him a big old hug, and he's out of nowhere, because he's just like, "Whoa, guy." And but Charles, everybody loves to talk to Charles. Everybody loves to talk to Eric as well. Yes.
Yeah. Well, Keith too, I would say.
And Keith,
because Keith gives you all the nuggets of info.
Well, it's always the Trinity, like we were saying. It's always the SWTOR Trinity right there.
Yeah.
Also, my first talk with Charles, it was right after Kogass had floated over to Eric or somebody up there, but it was before the part that we broadcasted on Twitter. So it was before the official dev talk. And his lightsaber is amazing in the sense that he built it. It's not just somebody else's lightsaber or like a recrafted lightsaber. So we were talking about this, and so this is the first time I'm meeting him. So I'm trying to make sure that he knows kind of who I am and what I'm all about with SWTOR. And so my dissertation came up in the psychology of why people play the game, which Charles's role with the game itself is very much about the same kind of thing. You want to create story, narrative, location, and dynamics in the game that draw those motivations to play in from the player. And so talking about the lightsaber and that at the same time, we realized that, you know, it's arguable or debatable. His lightsaber might have taken more work to build than the amount of time it took me to write my dissertation, which is mind-blowing to me. Just because I was talking with him about all the different steps he took to craft the different pieces and find things and put them together and reassemble. And it's just amazing. Like, I love that Charles comes to events dressed up like that, and that he really just loves Star Wars. I think that's the most admirable part, is you can get sucked into building a game. That doesn't mean necessarily that you love the IP enough to do something like that. And I love that about it.
I agree. I thought that was, and clearly, I mean, he, besides the lightsaber, he also, you know, frequently comes fully dressed. So you can tell he really loves Star Wars. At least in this particular case, he came dressed as a Jedi.
I've never seen him not in a Jedi robe, actually, so...
That was my first time meeting him, so I can't attest to previous times, but Kogass can, for sure.
Well, he's always in Jedi garb. Always.
Oh, that's cool.
I think
even
he
at
goes to
work.
in Jedi. Yeah, yeah.
I would love to go to work in a Jedi robe.
Wait a minute. Can you imagine if you go into an interview for, like, BioWare or something, going as full Jedi garb? That might.
I would 100% do that.
I would need like some kind of in-universe satchel or something to hold my resume, though.
A man purse?
Yeah, or whatever. I don't know if I could fold it up into like one of those little belt clip things.
Just go find some like one of those iPhone projector things, and you can project it like a holo feed.
There we go.
Project it onto the wall. Like you have to be in universe, Nick. You can't just have a folder from Staples when you're dressed like a Jedi Knight.
That's true. You got to go full bore.
You saw the books in The Last Jedi. You gotta weather the pages, burn them on the edges, and roll them up and make them look 1,000 years old.
That's absolutely true. So, speaking of the devs, do we want to take a listen to some of our sound bites before we?
Oh baby,
Yeah,
this is
we
like.
do.
Yes, we do. Let's hear it. Give it to us.
All right.
So we're here with Eric Musco and Jackie Chow. Did I say that right? And we're going to ask him a bunch of questions.
I mispronounced your name, actually.
You do?
I think so.
Well, no, he's probably lying. But little did we know
I'm
that.
just going to mess up your names the whole time. This will be great.
Yeah, so little did we know that Jackie is an alumni of UConn. So Nick and him have been talking about Husky fever all day and how they're going to have Husky dogs when they grow up. So
Sound like made-up words.
let's talk Onslaught.
1 second.
So let's talk Onslaught. So Jackie, what do you do for BioWare?
I am a game designer.
All right, so what is your main focus in Onslaught?
My main focus is the Corellia Flashpoint.
Can you tell us anything about the Corellia Flashpoint?
It's on Corellia.
All right. Eric, can we go into any more of that?
That's a great question, Steven. No, I can't answer that.
So, Eric, there's been a lot of tension, we'll call it, about the gearing system.
Yeah.
And I overheard you say that it's going to be faster than what we expect. Can you go into that a little bit?
Oh, man, I want to make a sarcastic answer, but it's a good question, so I can't. Okay, so yeah, we've said a lot that our intention is that you will get to 306 faster than you've ever gotten to max item gearing before, and we mean that. And if that's not true when you play it, then tell us, and we will change it so that becomes true. Like, even in some of our own... Hang on, sorry.
So, Nick, what do you think of Jackie being an alum of UConn?
Oh, it's great. It's the most well, not only have Jackie and I bonded about a few things, UConn's club sports in particular. Him being a star on the Taekwondo team in his time and me on the baseball team. But we've been chatting about SWTOR and our favorite classes, what we like to play, some things that Jackie's worked on, and how I need to go revisit them because I kind of just one-shotted a lot of the things because I didn't use the Master's Datacron. And now I'm really looking forward to the 6.0 expansion. We're going to get some level scaling through some of that, and I'll actually be able to go back and experience a lot of the mechanics that were, designed into those fights.
Perfect. Now that Eric came back from...
Yeah, sorry, security keeps pulling me aside to ask me the same question. It's very strange. Anyway, yes, you will get to 306 faster than you've ever gotten to the max item rating before. Like, think about Galactic Command. The original intention when that launched, not today, thankfully, but when it launched was our target was 1 hour per command rank, and there's 300 command ranks. This is not a 300-hour system. It is substantially less than that. Substantially. Like, I would suspect, literally, I don't want to give hours because someone's going to clock it and then they're going to...
a rough idea.
I would suspect the most hardcore players will be able to get to 306 the first night of the expansion, if not the second.
Wow.
So, I don't know. How many hours is a crazy...
Well, that's like asking how long is a piece of string, right? You can't really say because what's hardcore gaming to you?
Yeah.
Hardcore for me is like...
And it's also hard because it depends on, like, what content are you playing. Like, I would bet one of the fastest ways to get there is, like, 4-man group, super legit good, running master mode group finder over and over again. I would bet you will get to 306, and you will have a lot of set pieces and tacticals by the time you get to 306 as well. I think it's going to go quick.
Great.
A lot quicker than people think.
All right, you want to go drink, Nick?
I would love to go drink, Marcus.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, so we just heard from Jackie and Eric.
Yes.
So I'll just touch on Jackie real quick. Other than Nick and Jackie having a heart-to-heart about UConn Husky fever.
Yes. If you didn't quite catch it in the soundbite there, Jackie and I both are alumni of University of Connecticut.
And what's really special is, did you guys hear Nick? He talked about certain things coming in the expansion that I never thought Nick would say. Did you guys hear all that?
Did not. What'd he say?
We talked about level scaling and
Group content
group content,
and a bunch of other things, but it's mostly
Master's Datacron.
yeah. For me, it's mostly that he you can tell he was really engaged with Jackie, which was pretty awesome.
Yes. It was really cool.
But to the meat and potatoes, like, come on, Musco. Musco was calling me Steven all night. He knows I'm Marcus. He refers to me as Marcus. But he just thought it would be hilarious just to call me Steven all night. So I was calling him Fred. And when I sent my Post-Cantina email to them, I was only referring to him as Fred.
That's perfect.
Anyways, so what do you guys think about gearing after the Cantina?
Kogass,
Well, obviously-
you want to go?
Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say that I think it was clear that, even outside of that soundbite, the developers clearly made a concerted effort to go up to each of us and talk about the gearing. I know when I was talking, I was with, I think Kogass, you were standing there too with Doc, and I walked up and Keith was sort of, it sounded like he almost shoehorned gearing into our conversation, like the gearing's going to be okay or something to that effect. And so I think they had, a message beforehand to say, hey, let's talk about the gearing. And at least I think, if I remember right, Kogass, that was your impression as well.
Well, it kind of felt like, hey guys, I got a picture of Doc SWTOR, Nick Verne, Marcus, and Kogass here. These are our influencers. These are the guys we're going to talk to about gearing. Beforehand.
Definitely.
It was just like, but how do I feel about gearing? They're talking to them. It's one of those things that they're saying, all right, what you're seeing on PTS isn't what we're fully implementing when 6.0 launches. And to their credit, there is not much we can test outside of Hammer Station and Duxon. There's not a lot of people who want to go in and test out KP. And the pool of players is so much smaller on the PTS than it is for either server to test things out. I can tell you that I've had good gear drops and bad gear drops from the RNG. I would say I want to do the math and figure out how much it would cost to be able to buy a brand new shell from Kai Zyken and buy at least 3, I would say, arm ranks, mods, and enhancements to fill those out, and then put that as the limit for tech fragments. Because you're never going to get super lucky on your first roll. Probably not on your second. Let's be honest, not on your third. But if you're able to get enough, if the cap on tech fragments is high enough that you're able to spend them and get at least 2 pieces of gear with the mods that you would want in them at 306, then I'd be okay with that cap. But it still feels like 5,000 is a little low.
And going off of that, I was in the chat for the Ootinicast earlier today, and one of my friends in the game, Medulla, I think he's been on this show.
He has?
He said he went on the PTS to experiment how many tech fragments you would need to get all the way up to 306 gear from the beginning of the expansion, and it's 1 million around. So that's 40,000 hammer stations for anyone who has no ambition and just wants to do the quickest, easiest content repetitively. So have fun with 40,000 hammer stations, everybody.
But what Musco said was, if you're the best way to get gear in 6.0 is getting getting a group of 4 people and hammering through master mode flashpoints.
Or beating operations bosses.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
So it's basically saying, look, if you're casual, you can still get the gear, but it's going to take you 40,000 hammer stations. But
Or presumably less.
or whatever,
Yeah.
Whatever. But if you do group content and you need the 306 gear, because realistically, the only people that are going to need the 306 gear are Nightmare Raiders and ranked PvPers, right? The question is still up in the air about hard mode ops, and is the gear going to matter, or is it just going to be scaled? I don't have that answer yet, and I'm trying to get that answer. But for me, this gearing decision is, I can give them, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they are going to be implementing a faster rate to get gear. Do I think if somebody plays for 24 hours straight, 1 full day, no sleep, a red-eye flight but just in SWTOR, are they going to be in 306 gear? I don't know if I believe that. do I believe the RNG is going to be faster than Galactic Command was originally? Yes. Because if their intent was to give you one command rank per hour, I mean,
That's crazy.
that's 300 hours.
Yeah.
But how long does 40,000 hammer stations take?
I think longer than how long does Hammer Station
20,000
take?
hours.
Yeah.
Exactly. So is the system going to be faster than the original Galactic Command?
But remember, you don't need that many hammer stations because you're also going to get gear drops during the hammer stations. That's just me being sarcastic about having to rely on tech fragments because the RNG might be that bad. I don't think it will be. I think the repeated statement from Eric that this is going to be the fastest method of getting to the highest gear rating that any expansion has had up to this point. And they said that consistently throughout the night. So I believe that that's the goal. And if it doesn't turn out that way, we'll just send them some messages and that's their goal. They're invested in making that the truth.
Well, and that's something else that was special about the night is there were a lot of people there, but I felt like the devs made time to talk to us, whether it's because we're content creators or whatnot, or they basically heard our rages.
Right.
I think they have heard some of my rages, Marcus.
I think they've heard all of ours.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all been pretty vocal, right? Whether it's your, emails, posts on Twitter, whatever it may be, it's been, we've been loud. And I think what they're trying to do, I understand, because the thing I didn't understand about the long gear grind originally was that it was supposed to be you get to your item rating fast, but the side grades are what is the real end game. Side grade. Or horizontal progression, whatever way you want to put it.
Yeah, that's what I would call it, is horizontal progression. Are you sighing at Marcus's new vocabulary word?
Well, he
that
hates
that he
side
made
grade.
up.
I think he's sighing at the fact that he's saying side grades because as much as that it sounds not appealing, it might be very true. Side grades. I'm in 306, but I need different crits and mastery levels.
Right. I just know that the way I experience gearing in this game and the style of dopamine drip that they're trying to create are not the same thing. And I'm anticipating being in full 306 and hating 80% of my gear. Also, as a side note, my iPhone autocorrects side grade to so degrading. And that is a description of my spirit if what I suspect ends up being the reality.
That's perfect.
I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Because if Onslaught comes out in 2 weeks, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's here. And we're not going to be, we're going to be complaining about other stuff. But through it all, we're getting an expansion. We haven't had one in a while, and I'm really excited for it. I'm really excited that Nick is excited about SWTOR.
I am.
Because now he's going to come do the expansion with us.
That is my goal. My goal is to have all of the other expansion content finished before Onslaught comes out.
Wow, you heard it here first. So, out of 10, okay, 10 being the best, 1 being the least, what do you think? How good do you think the gearing is going to be in 6.0?
At launch or at expansion day?
Yeah, on launch day, after the Cantina talking with the devs.
I can go first if you guys want a second to talk.
Yes,
Do it.
please do.
Or to think, I should say. I would say a cautiously optimistic 7.
I can agree with that. Cautiously optimistic 7.
I think the cautiously optimistic is my my phrase of the evening. Like, yes, what they're saying sounds like good things and things that the
Right.
community wants. You want the fast leveling, but a fast way to get to 306 that's doesn't feel like you're just treading water forever. But I'm not saying like a 10 because they've had, it's kind of like it's one thing to talk, but just exactly what you were saying, Kogass, in the car ride back was, yes, that sounds good, but I want to see in action. And what you've seen in action in the PTS, I have not played the PTS, so I'm kind of going off of your words here, is that, that's not the case. So what you've seen so far is not that at all and far from it. But what
Right.
they've been saying, I'll let you finish your thought here. I don't want to articulate your own point.
Well, what they're saying is we're going to get a loot table. And as much as people aren't going to be super excited about it, it's gearing back up. You're going to, like, when you geared up in early 4.0, early 5.0, you ran through story mode raids to get the gear for the hard mode raids to get the gear for the nightmare raids. And if that's the case, and we're going to be able to get a loot table in operations, which is something they've said, correct? Like they've told us we're going to get a loot
Eric
table
said
for raids.
Operations bosses will drop gear or have a higher chance of dropping better gear than your normal mobs and other content.
Right.
I don't remember specifically if he said set bonus gear, but the key to moving through the gear levels is to beat things that are on that table and have the higher chance of being good for you.
I think he did say that.
I remember us talking about that.
I think
before.
he did say that all the bosses are going to be dropping. Operations bosses will drop set bonus gear. So
Yes.
here's my concern. Even though I don't play the ranked PvP in the game, is so we've heard about how the tech fragments are going to be coming from the mobs, and we've kind of seen it. But how are they going to implement ranked gear drops for ranked PvP? That's what I want to know. Because it's always been Nightmare Raiders and ranked PvP kind of earn gear at the same rate. So I'm not really sure, and they haven't really said what's the gearing going to be like in PvP. Because believe it or not, even though I personally don't do it, there are people, like Kogass or other people I know that do it. And are they going to get the raw end of the stick because it's not an operations boss or a master mode flashpoint? That's what I don't know. Because there's some people that only play PvP.
Right.
Right. I think that right now, actually, people were saying that playing regs in PvP was actually the best way to get gear on the PTS. Because you'll get a box for winning, and in that box is a piece of gear drop. And I can say I got a piece of 298. I got a 298 mod or enhancement out of a PvP crate when my gear rating was in the 270s. Maybe that was just super lucky and I got that, but I can say, like, hey, you know what? That RNG actually worked for me in a really good way. That's my best piece of gear that I got from PvP. I think the best thing I love for ranked players is that the preseason is going to be an extended long amount of time so that players will be able to not worry about their rating but still earn all the rewards for dailies and weeklies in ranked PvP. And people, it's not punishing players by affecting their rating when you're doing all this preseason stuff and testing out different builds, different tactical items, different amplifiers, all that stuff that you're going to be able to test for a long time. Is going to be you're not going to get a lot of hate from the PvP community for doing that during preseason. And I would strongly advocate anybody who thinks about getting into ranked PvP, the preseason is the perfect time for you. And so that means if you're like, well, I kind of want to try PvP, how does ranked go? Just queue up for solo ranked. Yeah, you'll get somebody who's like, oh, why don't you do anything? But at the amount of raids that they'll have is very minimal because you'll just be like, dude, just queue up again. It's not affecting your rating. We don't earn as many tokens, but I'm not worried because I'm learning, and that it gives you a free learning environment on probably the toughest aspect of the game.
And that might be my time to come in.
Mine too.
Absolutely.
I think I know Kogass, you and I had discussed a little
PvP training.
yes, potentially on your stream. I think that's if we're in the preseason, that's a perfect time for me to learn from the master Sith Lord himself.
So there's been an infamous developer in the game.
In the PTS specifically.
Right. So we've been running Ducks in on the PTS. And Matt Pusevich would be there. And then one day we were all in this operation, and there was this camera flying around. And his name was Camera 2. And we were like, and at first I was just like, oh, yeah, it's Matt's camera because maybe like he can figure out ways to like zoom in on other things and like see what other people are doing. Who knows?
Right.
So we asked, and they were like, oh, he's, my counterpart for, he's a developer, and he's, basically my right-hand man. So we called him Camera 2. So we've been asking, what's this person's name? And it's been like this infamous thing that nobody would tell us their name.
Right.
So then
we asked Musco, and he's like, it's no big deal. You can know who they are.
But I'm not going to tell you because I just like to watch you sweat.
And we're like, great, thanks.
Thanks, Musco.
So, a little while later into the evening, after some developers have had some adult beverages, we started asking around some more people. We're like, oh, so who works with, does Matt work with anybody else? We found out, oh, yes, he does. The person's name is Han Lee. Like, oh, and they work on, the game together. Yeah, they both developed. They basically work as a tandem. Like, oh, okay.
And we kind of look at each other and don't
just
say a word.
don't
We're
say
just
a
like,
word.
oh, all right.
Good to know. Thanks. So then we ran into Papa Keith later in the evening.
And he confirmed that Haley
Is Camera 2.
is Camera 2, which it's small potatoes, but it's good that we have a name for
Camera 2.
Camera 2.
We would try to get him on the show just because we didn't know who Camera 2 was.
Right. So we also, Keith grabbed me and he's like, well, all right, if you want your soundbite right now. I was like, okay. I didn't even have time to get Nick. So we'll play that after. But he confirmed that there is 2 endings to the storyline. So there are going to be 2 separate endings, one for the Republic, one for the Empire, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to end at the same place, which thank the heavens. And then he did confirm. Now, up until that point, I didn't know. Maybe other people did. But Mech Shaw was not supposed to be repeatable. And there's a world boss on Mech Shaw now. And Zamzam, shout out to Zamzam, we mentioned that. And then she found the pirate world boss on the PTS. And so we'll be able to revisit Mech Shaw over and over, which is pretty cool to me.
That's sweet. So, that being said, do you want to move on down our list of notes here?
Sure.
So, Jackie, I spoke to quite a lot. He's designing he does a lot of the Flashpoint specifically for BioWare, and he's working heavily on the Corellia Flashpoint. So he did almost all of the bosses on the Nathema Flashpoint, and he was saying that he was attempting to make that the hardest Flashpoint in the game.
It is the hardest Flashpoint in the game.
It's not really the hardest flashpoint in the game, Marcus.
I don't know, man. That second boss and the final boss is like 3 bosses in one. And that fight is tough. We tried to do it with me and you and Nick, which
And
we were like semi-carrying
222.
Nick, and then 222, and we didn't win.
Well, that's because mechanics are important to understand. And clearly we're handicapped because 222 did not understand how to spell the word mechanics, much less do one. And I think that, Nick is new to the entire thing too, and we didn't really explain much of anything because we were playing veteran mode. And so the idea is we should be able to power through it because there are Kolto tanks.
Right.
I think that when you look at how the mechanics and the expected player skill and just the randomness of the encounter are all put together, I still feel like Blood Hunt and Battle of Rishi are at least right there with the Nathema Conspiracy. And also, I would like to throw in, what's the one with the train called?
Umbara.
Crisis on Umbara. I feel like the final boss and some of the other bosses in that one are actually more challenging than the Nathema Conspiracy.
The first boss on Umbara is really tough. You fight those two people, like the assassin and then the guy that repairs the turrets. I don't know his name. That is a tough fight. The spider tank just, I don't want to think about that spider tank.
See, I feel like the Nathema Conspiracy gets its name because it's so long, and when people queue for flashpoints, you're inevitably going to get the flashpoint quitters who see what instance they got plopped into, and they're just gonna quit the group. And now you're shorthanded, and it's like, wait, I could do 17 hammer stations in the time it takes to clear this once because people don't know how to play the game, so we're going to wipe a bunch. And I think if you get 4 people dedicated to their role and their class and who know the fights, that the randomness of those fights is less than some of the other Apex bosses in the flashpoints I listed. And so it's actually easier to clear that one.
I still think that the final boss is tough. Of all the flashpoints, I would say that's the only one that's given me problems. But maybe we'll have to do Blood Hunt and the Battle of Rishi together and kind of figure it out.
And you need to have me on the team with a
You
random
play
person.
Marauder, though, so every boss feels difficult, Marcus.
But somehow I win. And I'm not playing Floor Marauder either.
Well, actually, on that topic,
Floor
222
Marauder.
was so bad that I had to solo one of the bosses in veteran mode, which is not ideal for how groups are supposed to experience that flashpoint.
That is true.
Yeah, that is true.
That is true.
So, also in my conversation with Jackie, he mentioned that when they were designing Corellia, specifically the artwork for it, since it's going to be rather war-torn, a lot of the not symbolism, but I guess the art design was taken from movies with big invading forces and armies, like Saving Private Ryan and Edge of Tomorrow, both movies famous for their heavy beach fighting scenes, which will be really cool. I thought that was a nice little nugget of info to look forward to. There could be some cool beach fighting sort of graphics going on in Corellia. Also, we got some info on one of the bosses for that flashpoint. I don't know if we're supposed to tell.
Ooh, do tell.
But one of the bosses in the so originally this came about because I asked Jackie what classes he plays, and he said that he really likes Bounty Hunter. That's his favorite tune. Is Bounty Hunter.
Did you ask him if he was IO or Arsenal?
I did not.
Okay, that's a fail.
Well, sorry. He should have been in my circle.
Because if he said he was IO, I would tell him that Kogass has a 9K parse guaranteed. So if you're playing Arsenal Merc right now, throw it out the window and message Kogass. He has the 9K parse.
All thanks to Cliff. Cliff taught it to me. I'm just trying to get it out to the people.
Shout out to Cliff.
Jackie did say he plays a Merc and a Bounty Hunter. But, sorry, a Gunslinger and a Bounty Hunter.
Okay.
But anyways, back at the ranch. So one of the bosses on the upcoming Corellia Flashpoint is a bounty hunter, a Mandalorian, modeled precisely after Jackie's bounty hunter tune, which I thought is pretty cool.
Well, what better way to design a tune than designing it after yourself?
Right. I thought that was pretty awesome.
It is pretty awesome.
And one of the people in the circle was like, did they ask you where this character came from? And they're like, no. And Jackie was like, no, nobody really asked. They just thought it was a cool fight. And that's what they're more concerned with, the mechanics and the fight itself. So, after all of that, I, of course, made the pitch to, hey, come on the show, which Jackie agreed to, and he mentioned it on Twitter. Hey, come on down to Working Class Nerds. So we've emailed Musco, and we're just waiting patiently for Musco to get back to us.
Oh, we've gotten the message back.
Yeah.
He can come on the show. It'll be after the expansion.
Oh, that's fair. I do know that the SWTOR Escape podcast also wants to have him on the show. So I have not said when we want to have him on the show. If he wants to go on there first, it's totally fine by me. I'm not going to block anything. Just putting it out there.
Well, yeah.
All is fair as far as developers on the show.
Yeah, as long as the devs go on shows, I'm happy with that.
Me too.
Because
Absolutely.
I think the more that devs talk to the people, I think it connects all of us.
Exactly.
And I personally, I really want Keith on the show. Keith's words to me were, "I would love to come on your show. You need to book it with Musco. Get it done." And then he looked at Musco and said, "Book me with Working Class Nerds." So, I mean, if we get Keith,
Great.
yeah,
We'll take whatever we can get.
users can't be choosers.
Right. I think beggars can't be choosers.
That's what I meant to say.
I employed the same strategy with asking people to come on the show. I was like, hey, we can ask for everybody, and if I get, or we get 1 out of 4 to say yes, then great. That's, if I ask 20 people, that's 5 people on the show.
And I just want to take 1 second to do a huge shout out.
Yep.
Terrence, you're the man.
Terrence.
So we were at the cantina standing with Max and everybody, and there was a guy there, and, I introduced myself, and he was like Marcus, like the podcast Marcus, and I was like, yeah. And then he's like, where's Nick? And I pointed to Nick. Then he started talking to Nick, and then he was like, and I was like, oh, there's Kogass the streamer. Oh my God. And then there's Dr. SWTOR. Oh my God. And it was really a surreal moment that people listen to this show
In real life.
in real life.
I know.
It's one thing like when you see downloads or the subscribers, whatever
Well, that's
whatever the
just-
metrics.
Those are just numbers, though.
That's just numbers, right? But when you meet somebody that's like, I really enjoy your show, and I'm like, why? And they're like, because Nick is awesome and you're terrible. And I'm like, that's understandable. But I guess it's really real.
That's not true, by the way.
Yeah, it's 100% true.
Par for the course.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And so, but my point is, I don't know for you guys, when you meet somebody that knows you from the virtual world, but then you're in front of them, it's a special moment.
Yeah, I mean, I got to talk with Terrence after he talked with both of you. I came up to the second floor at that stage in the evening. Much later, I spent time downstairs. But getting to talk with Terrence was a really nice part of my evening. And I would just say in general, off your point, Marcus, that it's great to meet some people instead of it just being a download and adding to your numbers on a spreadsheet. That the whole night, even before we got to the event, when it was just meeting people that were coming up to our hotel room and walking with us down the street to get to the cantina, I got to be in conversations where people talked with me about some things I said on Ootinicast throughout the years, where I really let my professional self, the actual counseling doctor of Dr. SWTOR, come through, and just the kinds of dialogue about mental health and having a safe but also valuable place in your life for Star Wars: The Old Republic. And I just say that stuff because that's who I am. I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything. I'm not trying to do therapy with people. But I ran into over 10 people like Terrence, who knew exactly who I was and had like a sampling in their mind of things that I said that made them look at the game differently and made them look at life differently and how you can play SWTOR in certain ways that are valuable for you. And it just blew my mind because here I am. I'm in New York City, which is much bigger than any place that I ever usually am. And I'm running into people who know who, the professor side of me who know like what I stand for in this game and appreciate me because of that. It blew my mind that like I'm not a sorcerer to them. You know, I'm not a lightning sork. I'm Dr. SWTOR. It was crazy. Yeah.
I agree. Something else that I should have mentioned earlier is, so at Celebration, Kogass and Sotorista, and I don't remember, Boomy maybe, they all streamed the Cantina. And it was really great because it kind of connected us at home to the Cantina. Yes, the sound isn't great. The video quality is never great. All that stuff. But if it isn't for those people, the people at home wouldn't get to watch if they wanted to. Now, Doc SWTOR streamed it as well, and then I streamed it with Lady Ran as almost like a backup plan in case Doc's AT&T service wasn't as good as my Verizon service. And,
that's so great.
well, it's the truth, right? Because you never know. There could be one tower on top of Stitch, but no Verizon tower anywhere near us.
Right.
So it was really great for Doc to be able to stream that event and me to connect with Lady Ran and really, connect those people. And hopefully everybody got to watch it who wanted to watch it. And then at the same time, I would say this. There wasn't a lot of information that came out of their speech.
Mm-hmm. Just that we're going to have 2 companions come back, I believe.
Yep.
Was
so
the big takeaway.
We are getting who's coming back, guys?
Theron
Scourge and Kira.
Oh.
Yeah,
I got Theron Cedrax out of what they were saying, but was that a joke?
Yeah. Well, so Theron Cedrax is coming back in 6.0, but the way wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Charles said, Kira and Scourge are going to be in 6.0, but aren't going to be available until 6. Question mark. But you're going to see them again. That's what I got out of it.
Right.
As
companions, I believe, too.
But I want to say again, the real magic of the Cantina happened after that speech.
Yeah.
Because the devs kept coming up to us and we would talk more. And it was almost like the more time you spent with them, the more you got them to answer. Mm-hmm. And it is really true that Keith just wants to tell you everything. There was at one point, Keith told me that there is a new stronghold coming in the expansion. And, well, not in 6.0, but in 6 point something.
Yeah, he said there is a new stronghold coming in the expansion, but it's not on Mech Shaw.
Right, but I was like, am I supposed to know that? And he looked at me, smiled, and shrugged his shoulders. Well, you do now. And I kind of laughed, and Musco was right there. I was like, hey, am I supposed to know that? He goes, look it. If Keith tells you, you can tell the world. All right.
Perfect.
So for all the stronghold people out there, we're getting a new one soon.
You got some new property to buy, so start saving up the credits.
Right. And the last thing that was announced, or that we got confirmed, which they might have said it, I don't know.
I don't remember where in there they said this.
But this is near and dear to Doc's heart.
Right. So
go ahead.
There will be a hard/veteran mode for Duxon at launch, with the nightmare mode to come later on.
And I'm excited for this, but I'm curious if it's going to be more like hard mode gods in the original, where it was more of like hardmare, kind of nightmarish to start, and then they'll nerf it back to be a real hard mode, or is it going to be like a real hard mode op to start, and you just need to figure out the mechanics and you win? I'm not really sure.
But regardless, I had an epic time.
What did you guys think about the whole Nightmare op coming, Doc, Kogass? Because you guys are Nightmare Raiders.
I think it's great. I think it's exciting. I'm more excited for a hardmare raid of Duxon. I've only seen it in story mode. So that'll be the new hotness. I want to get into that. Most definitely. New raid, veteran mode. Ready for angry nights about how to kill the boss, how to follow mechanics, and learning all that Nightmare, Dixon? Well, let's see. Let's get to that when we get to it. There's so much more to see right now within this month. In like, what is it, 2 weeks? In like 2 weeks, we got so much to go with. I'm excited about it, but I'm ready for everything that's coming down right now.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's really great that they confirmed that Master Mode is in their plan for Duxon, because we were actually not in agreement about what we've heard about that in the car ride up to New York City. And
Right.
I had gotten from the things they said that there would, and I was told that we're not. And I accepted that because I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm not as invested in this piece of news, so maybe I heard it wrong. But Eric actually, earlier than when Keith had talked with you, he had looked really confused when I mentioned that there's not a Master Mode Duxon. So I think that logistically it's probably much easier for them to debut the veteran mode, hard mode as a hard mare, see how the community responds to the fights, and then a couple months later initiate the master mode and scale hard mode back into being in line with the other hard mode ops. I just, the way I think about these bosses, that makes a lot of sense to me. With, the way that they rolled out Gods from the Machine one boss at a time, and also with this one, and just the amount of time we've had since Gods from the Machine concluded, I feel like they're in a good place to deliver something that's awesome. And I also only have tried story mode on the PTS, and those fights really make you have to come together as a team. They're not tank and spank instances, and they're pretty creative. And I just told Eric, like, my 10-year-old self loves the Mighty Morphin Kephis fight because it's all like so many things.
Go Power Rangers!
Yeah, and also having to finish them on the train track. Just, it brings me back to Mortal Kombat 3, which I would spend all my quarters on the summer that game came out. Mortal Kombat is also one of the game franchises that kind of drew me into video games at a young age, and I still love those games a lot. So the fact that I get that nostalgic feeling from a different franchise inside that fight, it's weird. I could talk about that forever. But I love that Keith confirmed a lot of things about all the different play styles too, that there's a lot to be looking forward to with the next era for our game.
In the Keith soundbite that'll come after this, it is clear that there's something for everybody in this expansion. And that's what's going to make it so great. And I'm so excited. Wait, so technically, Nick,
Yep.
our next episode will be right after the launch if it launches on time.
Perfect.
I mean, when it
Like
launches
on
on time.
By the way,
Well, I'm sorry. I still don't believe it's coming out on the 22nd. They can tell me until they're blue in the
Bet.
face.
but there's
Listen,
business.
it's good.
Involved.
It was out there.
Like, yeah, this is not up for debate. I mean, Charles was pretty obvious at the cantina that this is a do or do not, there is no try kind of situation.
Wow. Wait.
I did not know that, but I still don't think it's coming out on the 22nd. And that's just me being me.
Marcus always has his tinfoil hat on.
It's going to come out the 22nd, and then it's going to come down to be patched on the 23rd.
I'm not saying it's going to be a great experience on the 22nd, but
Is it going to be everything they want it to be? No. But is it going to be out? Yes. We will be able to get to 75. We will be able to get everything going. It's just not going to be... there'll be a quick patch afterwards to get things fixed. That's my bet.
All right, so last tinfoil hat because you said it. So there's a rumor going around that the XP needed to go from 70 to 75 is insane. Like, I remember going from 65 to 70. I just did 2 story mode ops, and I was level 70.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. But I heard in this, it's not going to be like that.
Well, it shouldn't be. You should have to do a few ops to get to 75. Right? Like,
I don't know. The grind is real. And then
We'll see.
The real end game is side grades.
Side grades.
So I'm here with Keith at the Cantina. Thanks for coming on the show. My first question, what are you looking forward to most in 6.0? You personally.
Me personally, the storyline, right?
Okay.
Both Imperial and for me, because I play the game just like everybody else.
Yes.
But because of who I am and what I'm having to do, I have to play the storyline during the dev phase. So
Right.
I already know the storyline. But I'm looking forward to it live because now it's not my test characters, it's actually my live game.
So do you play mostly on the pub side or the imp side on the
both.
live game?
I play both, right? So probably equally as much. On the Imperial side, I play an operative healer, but I also have a merc, right? Which it's going to be on the Republic side. I'll play a sage and a commando.
Wow, all right.
But I also have a scoundrel healer, just like I do on the. So I mirrored all my characters.
Okay.
All right, and I play both sides equally.
And this is more of an opinion. What do you think people are going to go more crazy for? Onderon, Mech Shaw, or the Corellia Flashpoint?
I think initially, obviously, there'll be on Onderon, but I think they'll enjoy the story part on Onderon. Mekshaw has the next part of the career path, but it also has a world boss that we haven't announced. Right?
All right.
All right. So I don't know if you've seen it, but so there's going to be there. So people will be going back to Mekshaw quite a bit. I've enjoyed the Flashpoint because of the 2 endings.
Okay.
And they're both different. Right.
Wow. All right. Thanks so much, man. And happy anniversary.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
What's your name?
Hey, I'm Max Middleman.
And what character do you play that you cannot give us the voice to?
I play Arn Peralin
Which is the Jedi Padawan
of Tau.
Wow. So we're getting that in Onslaught in 6.0. What was the most fun part about recording that character?
He's rad.
And is he a cyborg?
And without giving any spoilers, oh yeah, he's cyborg. That's what I can say. That Jedi Padawan, and he's working through some issues, and that's about it.
So more to come. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
My screen name is Avon Redwind. That's my main on Satil Shan.
Satil Shan.
Satil Shan.
Shan, yeah, Star Wars.
Be on our show because our players are on Satil Shan. See, I'm trying to steal.
No, it's all about Starforge. Anyway, what do you mostly play? What's your main focus of gameplay?
Galactic Starfighter.
Wow.
Sniper and Smuggler.
Okay, and what are you looking forward to most in 6.0?
So just more people to play with and more content. One of the main things that I'm actually really looking forward to is essentially, and I'm not trying to shamelessly self-promote, but rebranding and restructuring my guild more than anything.
All right.
It's getting my guild back on its feet.
Okay, great.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Awesome, man.
Thank you so much for everything.
Thank
All right,
you.
Guys, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
What are you guys talking about in here?
Find out next episode of Working Class Nerds.